trying to encourage interdisciplinary design between different disciplines here at Temple. So we've created a design charrette that'll just be one day where students of different disciplines will be divided into teams, and they'll come up with design schemes to create a tiny house for Temple Community Gardens.
We are Temple Community Garden. We're located at Diamond and Carlisle. We have a main garden where we grow lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. And we also have a flower garden where we grow wildflowers, native plants, all sorts of things. And our gardens serve as a place for the Temple community to not just only relax and hang out in a green space, but also to interact with their green space.
And this tiny house is pretty much the core of a garden where we can really organize the whole working of people just coming together and understanding how to garden and just to know more about what we do.
So they will have from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. to create their designs, and they'll be producing 2 documents. One will be a presentation of their overall design philosophies, and the design will include sustainable elements. The teams that were developed are basically done at random, so people didn't come in their own team. We created the teams for them, so it forces people a little bit outside their comfort zone to really get to know people they didn't necessarily know before today, and help facilitate this really creative process.
I think this is a great opportunity for me to actually see how an actual project can be brought together. You can see, each individual person will bring a specific skill, and you can integrate that into your project and get even a better idea of how your project can go. And get in the practice of working with these people, not just necessarily all engineers. You're going to get the same view. You may get a different perspective. It's kind of like, being able to think outside the box for your project.
It's been so cool because it turns out the architects have a very detailed view of what they want. Because sustainability is so important to this, the environmental disciplines can bring that unique perspective, and marketing is how you can fund it, right? So it's necessary to have them. Just today, I'm feeling that everyone can play in everyone else's different kind of fields and do equally well.
We all have our own strong points, and so we've been focusing on those. We've all been implementing our own specialties. However, we constantly go to each other and check up on the development to make sure that we're all on the same page.
What we're hoping comes out of this tiny house design is a place where students can see something that other Temple students helped make. So from such a multidisciplinary background that this design competition is coming from, I wanted to show people that you don't have to be a horticulture major to be involved in the garden.
Landscape architecture, engineering, liberal arts, we have business, we have science, so all different disciplines.
I'm looking more on the engineer's perspective, making sure that the design perspective it matches of what we're actually trying to gear to do.
I am a neuroscience major, and so I have a lot of background with cellular biology.
The civil engineer is the one who knows the structural requirements of the building that's being put up.
I think the collaboration part is amazing based off of just being at Temple and seeing all the different kind of materials and ideas and just things that you wouldn't normally think of. Having someone from a different major will just completely change and actually improve all the ideas that a normal gardener or an architecture student would have.
The design industry, it's called an integrative design process, where you bring members, from designers to contractors in on the building process from the beginning, and it actually helps create a more sustainable process throughout the design and construction. So this really kind of simulates that process.
I think it's more of a realistic practice for the future. Being a civil major, you may not get the actual practice when you gain your education. By doing this kind of competition, it gives you the perspective of how you would engage in the real world of designing an actual project.
I constantly compared all of the components of the house to a living cell. The way that the insulated greenhouse was the cellular membrane, and how us as people were the DNA. We had the instructions in our heads about how to command the rest of the tiny house.
Today I'm doing a little bit of everything. Everyone's wearing different hats, and look, I won't tell you our design, but our design solves a lot of problems just from the go. There's a lot of presentation that has to be done to communicate to the Temple Community Gardens what they want. What this is here is the design approach, which is starting from our basic premise. We don't want the thing to fall down, then we want it to work, then we want it to work nicely. So that's how we're building it, and hopefully they'll like it.
The materials will be sent to jury members, which consist of Temple Community Gardens President, the Sustainability Director for City of Philadelphia, DVGBC's Executive Director, and then also Temple's Director of Sustainability Education. And they'll be determining the winner based on the materials that have been submitted. The first place winning team will get a cash prize of $1,000, and second place team will get $500.
I think that we worked really well together, and like we met all the requirements for it, and came up with some creative solutions, and I think our tiny house is pretty good. We had an engineer on our team, Ian, who just like knew how to calculate all this stuff with load.
Well, before I even saw the poster on the wall, I was always interested in tiny houses. Like, I want to build my own like one day. I thought the heating and cooling stuff was the most important, well, to me at least. I took care of the solar panel stuff.
We decided that the more rectangular size would be nice, so I believe we just went with like 12 by 10, something pretty simple like that.
We just had so many different majors and different origins of ideas, and they were like, well, who's good at what? Who can handle this? So we just shot the architecture over the architects, obviously. I took care of the numbers. Kat's a great writer. Molly took care of the composting toilet, and yeah, we divvied up, and we did a good job with it.
We were down to the minute in submitting everything. Getting everything into one PDF was like, it was almost like, oh my God, this isn't gonna work.
Like, we were all here because, I don't think it was because of the money or the reward or anything. We were here because of the tiny house design. And since everybody in my group was excited about that, like, we all had different ideas, and like, we could all agree, oh, you got a point there, you got a point there, that's cool, let's implement this, let's flip that. And it was just, ended up great.